Alright guys, in today's video we have more PlayStation news and info to go over and discuss. If you could do me a big favor before we dive into it and hit that like button to help the video out and show it your support, I would greatly appreciate it. And make sure you leave a comment down below, leaving your thoughts on everything we have to discuss here today. But we're starting with a follow-up to a previous rumor that we covered here on the channel that had to do with Sony's next major acquisition. It was rumored that Sony was already in the process of finalizing the purchase of Bluepoint Games, which in and of itself, even just separating that notion from the rumor, it would make a lot of sense. I don't think that that would shock anybody. I would actually go as far to say it would be more surprising if Sony didn't acquire Bluepoint Games. Now, there are some individuals who believe that Bluepoint is actually not a smart acquisition for Sony to make, but I am not of that belief. I think Bluepoint Games would be a very good purchase for Sony to make, and I think that they would fit perfectly underneath PlayStation Studios, considering just how much IP Sony has in their vault that they could bring back at any time to be remade by the remake specialists. Anyway, the original rumor that we covered stemmed from a Reset Era forum member who apparently had some credibility behind their name. The individual's name was Marzipan Rumpan, I guess if I'm saying it correctly. And this individual claimed that Sony was in the process of finalizing the purchase of Bluepoint Games. And they actually put their name on the line by saying, if I'm wrong about this, and if you don't hear about this in the coming months, then you can ban me from the forum. And for those who aren't aware, for those who like to spend a lot of their time on these forums and they care very much about the reputation they build up in these forums, it is kind of a big deal if you end up getting banned from one of these forums. You pretty much, are no longer allowed to participate. And to some people, that's a big deal. Others, not so much. And so here we are approaching March 2021, and we still haven't heard anything about Sony acquiring any studio or Bluepoint Games. And so a lot of people are calling for this individual to be banned because he said, hey, if it doesn't happen, ban me. And so we have another Reset Era forum moderator, Transistor, who is an administrator, coming out here and defending this individual and also adding more smoke to the potential fire here that we're seeing from a distance. So he says, first off, I want to say how disappointed in this community I am. The amount of hostility in this thread is unwarranted. This community needs to be better about how it treats one another. As for Marzipan Rumpan, he's not going to get banned, so chill out. There's been smoke from multiple sources about Bluepoint being acquired by Sony, so it's pretty much going to happen. It's just a matter of when. I had faith enough that it was going to happen, so I would never have to ban them in the first place. I don't like actual ban bets and don't tend to entertain them. So what this individual is basically trying to say is that, yeah, it's going to happen, that it's real. There's a reason why this individual put their name on the line, and they're backing this up. And they said that they would have never allowed them to do something like that, or they certainly wouldn't entertain anything like that if they didn't believe there was actually something behind this. Now, some of you are probably looking at this and thinking, this is kind of ridiculous. Should we really take this as a sign that Sony's going to acquire Bluepoint Games? I don't think so. I mean, this is one of those situations where we're talking about individuals who are hidden behind names on the internet saying things. So I don't want to take this as, oh, this means Sony's going to acquire Bluepoint. But if you were to ask me, MBG, do you think it's likely that Sony would acquire Bluepoint in 2021? My answer to that would be yes, not based off of rumors, but because it just makes the most sense. Look at what they did with Demon's Souls. Look at the past work that Bluepoint Games has done for Sony. I really don't know why Sony wouldn't acquire them and fold them in as a first-party studio. And some people bring up the argument, well, maybe Sony wouldn't want to do that because they just don't want to invest in a studio that only specializes in remakes. Well, as I said, Sony has a lot of IP in their vault that would be great for the remake treatment. So there's that. But when you also consider the fact that Bluepoint eventually could grow themselves to be able to make something original. In the process of remaking and remastering all these games, they're learning a lot about game development, obviously, for different genres of games. And if they wanted to in the future, they could eventually apply that to an original game. And I'm sure that the individuals at Bluepoint Games would love the opportunity to do something original. So I just think it would be a win-win for Sony. They're clearly very talented. We don't know what an original game from Bluepoint would be like. We don't know if it would be amazing or if it would be mediocre. We do know that any future remakes or remasters from them will be nothing short of amazing. I just think it makes sense. Now, again, I don't want anybody to walk away from this assuming that this rumor is true or that anything that's being said on these forums is true, because it might not be. It could be completely made up. These could be individuals just entertaining something that has nothing behind it. But the whole idea of Sony acquiring Bluepoint Games in and of itself is not far-fetched, and there's a reason why I'm willing to entertain that. It's because I think it makes a lot of sense. So let me know down in the comments below if you think Sony is going to in fact acquire Bluepoint Games sometime in 2021 and make that announcement. Now, moving on from that, continuing with the whole studio acquisition talk, we're talking about another rumor that has apparently popped up regarding Microsoft and their next event. And this is relevant. In fact, I would say this is actually extremely relevant to PlayStation owners, because the rumor is heavily implying that once this deal is finalized between Microsoft and Bethesda, Microsoft's going to come out here in a big way and kind of talk much more about their future plans with Bethesda and what's going to happen. And part of that conversation inevitably will have to be, well, are these games going to be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem, or can PlayStation players expect to still get these major Bethesda titles in the future? So it says here, Microsoft could hold a Bethesda-themed event as soon as next month, should its acquisition deal close in time. That's according to prominent news journalist Jeff Grubb, who claimed in a new podcast that the Xbox firm is planning to extensively detail its plans for Bethesda. I think this is one of the milestones for Microsoft before E3, where once the deal closes, they will talk about this in a big way. I don't know if it will be a full direct style event, but they will make note about it, and they will talk about it extensively, explain what it means for everybody, and talk about the immediate future of both companies becoming one. So yeah, expect that to happen sometime in mid-March. And so, you know, this is something that I've seen a lot of people talking about. Obviously, Xbox fans are getting very excited at the idea of Microsoft holding a dedicated event just for the Bethesda acquisition. I think that is possible, but it doesn't necessarily have to be an event. What I am confident in saying here is that regardless of whether you believe exactly what Jeff Grubb is saying, there's no doubt in my mind that Microsoft will be making the rounds once this deal officially closes. Once Microsoft is legally allowed to basically say, we now officially own this gaming company and all of its IP and everything associated with it. Now we're going to tell you what our plans with it are. I'm sure that they're very eager to do that. And most of us, pretty much all of us, regardless of how much you enjoy Bethesda's games, I don't think that that matters. We all want to know what is the future of these titles. Another big reason for this is because whatever Microsoft does with Bethesda's games, whether they let them continue to release on other platforms or whether they decide to make it exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem, it's going to let us know what to expect from Microsoft in the future as well. So if Microsoft were to ever make another major, gaming company acquisition, we would already know what to expect with all of those IP that maybe, we're used to getting on PlayStation. So I do think this is extremely relevant for PlayStation owners, and especially those who are big fans of Bethesda. I'm not the biggest fan of Bethesda, but even I am very interested to know what's going to happen with these games. Is Starfield going to release on the PS5? What about the next Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Wolfenstein, right? These are all games that people have always expected to be able to play on PlayStation. And if Microsoft does hold some type of event, or whether they hold an event or not, they're going to have to talk about this. So basically, we are looking at a rumor claiming there might be some type of event surrounding this, which I think would be very exciting for Bethesda fans and Xbox fans. And if there is an event, I will definitely stream it and react to it. But even if there's not an event, we can certainly say that Microsoft is going to have some stuff that they want to talk about once this deal officially goes through, which is expected to happen sometime in early March. And so, yeah, let's keep our eyes peeled and see what happens. Moving on from that, though, I do want to take a moment to talk about Final Fantasy 16, which is going to be a PlayStation console exclusive, and apparently this game is going to be action-oriented. So, speaking during a radio broadcast, Final Fantasy XVI producer Naoki Yoshida briefly touched base on the highly anticipated RPG, revealing that the game will be action-oriented, which suggests it'll be quite similar to Final Fantasy XV in this respect. Yoshida-san revealed that the team is looking to cater to players who are less skilled at action titles and is also working hard on the game's story. That's all he had to say on the game, but it's worth mentioning that Yoshida was there primarily to talk about Final Fantasy XIV. So we didn't get like any major news on Final Fantasy XVI, and one thing I did see recently about it as well is that they're kind of waiting to show the game because they seem to have this fear that if they show it too early and they don't show it in a very big and impressive way, that people are gonna walk away from it thinking it looks like half-baked, or it just doesn't look good enough, or it's just nowhere near being complete. And I think that that's totally understandable considering some of the stuff that they've done in the past. But there you go. If you're somebody who's looking forward to Final Fantasy XVI, expect it to be more action-oriented, and it seems as though they are going to take into consideration some accessibility here, because they say that it is going to cater to players who are apparently less skilled at action titles. So make of that what you will. But we're going to end this video talking about the apparent Twisted Metal TV series that is moving ahead at PlayStation Productions. So a Twisted Metal TV series is moving forward at Sony and PlayStation Productions, according to a new report from Variety. The series will be an original action comedy take on the long-dormant franchise from the writers behind Deadpool and Zombieland, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. PlayStation Productions apparently made a statement on the project, and they said that Twisted Metal is one of the most beloved franchises from PlayStation. We are thrilled to have such a great team working on bringing this iconic game to life for fans. Other talent involved includes Will Arnett, who has been speculated to voice Sweet Tooth, although this isn't currently the case according to people with knowledge on the project. And so, yeah, this is a thing that's happening. I don't know how excited Twisted Metal fans are about this. I mean, it's something. I think it's nice to just see the IP return in some form. I have no idea what to expect in terms of quality of this TV series. My hope is that, because I think Twisted Metal is a game that, longtime PlayStation fans really kind of adore. My hope is that if this TV show does well and people really take to it, that it will kind of open the door for maybe another official Twisted Metal game to come from Sony, because a lot of people have been asking for that for quite some time. So we'll see. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Again, leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave the video a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.